This LPL Pro presentation is proudly brought to you by Star Insurance.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are live out of the beautiful Auckland SkyCITY Sky Tower for the Let's Play Live Star Insurance Project Cars 2 ANZ Championship. That's right, it's Season 3. We've got a 3-time New Zealand champion, royalty, joining us for some inside knowledge. My name is Brendan White from D1NZ. I'm joined by Simon Chapman, Velocity. Simon, welcome back.
Cheers, Brendan.
The brains in the studio usually, and Darren Kelly, the current DK, the current D1NZ champion. Darren, welcome as well.
Thank you for having me back again.
Yes, it's good. It's you're going to hopefully give us a lot of credibility tonight because you're a bit of an esports racer yourself. You're an avid fan of it. You do a lot of it, correct? Yeah,
it's great practice. As we were, we're always trying to perfect our seat time, trying to get as much as we can, and esports is a great way to do that. And it's obviously a lot cheaper than trying to get out to the track and burning through tyres and fuel.
Burning through tyres in a car that we're going to see tonight, a car that Darren pilots. It's the R35, the Nissan. That's what we are tonight. You're the New Zealand champion, Darren. It must feel pretty good off-season. How was the championship? You took the title. You're standing proud.
Yeah, obviously, ultimate season for us. Managed to, from round one, get our first win in the books, and from there, just managed to put together a good season and bank those points every round and get some good results and take out the championship at the end of the season. Championship
points, okay, seat time's key. We've got 16 racers from Australia and New Zealand, ladies and gentlemen. They all want to go racing. We've got 2 sprint races tonight and a main race, and championship points is all what it's about. Now, there were some top moments last week. We're going to look at those because it's really key to bank these early points. 100 points up for grabs in this race, Simon.
Yeah, we saw THR Madzi battling with Robert Murphy's Law Northway. Robert, we spoke about at the start of the show, just needing to get some consistent results, some points, as we say, consistency under his belt, because as we saw last season, that was the dog of his championship run. We saw a little bit more carnage, unfortunately, involving Robert Northway. Down at turn 3 at the Hockenheim Grand Prix circuit, we saw THR Madzi going for a wild ride into the barrier, and then Robert Northway looks like he had maybe a suspension failure or something. He just looped it all on his own. Everyone lucky to come away and not hit the stranded Porsche 911 GT3R. Then we saw THR Madzi again getting into trouble, a triple header for him. He went off at the Michael Schumacher chicane at the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit, so an unfortunate run for him in the feature race.
So some of those, look, we had 6 championship qualifiers come through from last year, which is, we really expected them to see on this tournament ladder, but last week it kind of shook it up. So we had Matthew Bullpluck sitting there in first position, and then we had this newcomer that we know nothing about, Sika. So we're going to hopefully find out a bit more about him. Robert Northway, he was in the championship last year, Murphy's Law. Now, if you're wondering why these names are different, it's their gamer's name. If you're tuning in on Sky, it's a gamer name. Simon Bishop, one of your favourites, Simon, sitting in 4th position.
Yeah, Simon said he had a bit of a rough run, he reckoned. He said maybe coming into this week, it'll be maybe a good opportunity for him to claw some points back, but unfortunately, a bit of an awkward run for him. But guys from 5th onwards had a worse run. John Baggs there on 226 points. Monkey Matt Smith, the Wirral World Racer, running a 2K Cup down there in 6th. Madzi and Dave Stone round out the top 8. And we see those guys through 9th through to 16th really need to get a good result under their belt tonight.
Now, championship ladder, we didn't really see the people that we thought we'd see come in, but the one qualifier. We're going to touch on the guy that won last year and what he's doing as well in the studio. But before we can do that, let's find out where we've been and where we're going in the Project Cars 2 ANZ Championship. But before that, obviously, there was something else that it's motorsport, right? And in motorsport, you get penalties. And last week, the Motorsport New Zealand stewards just dished it out, and unfortunately, someone lost some championship points, Simon.
Yeah, we saw Info Agent down at turn 1 of the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit having a bit of a send down there. Darren Kelly, a bit of an awkward one by the looks of things.
Yeah, as you can see, he just couldn't quite pull it up and didn't give him enough room for both cars to get around there safely. Rubbing is racing, but in that situation, it sort of took away his line, and that's when penalties are given.
How much, as a motorsport personality, do you kind of just sometimes want to really hand it to the, I guess in a judge sport, the judges, or in an official steward way, like?
Yeah, well, like a lot of the time in a judge sport, people don't tend to always agree with the judges'
Judges are always right, though, right?
Well, their call is final.
Yeah.
But often a lot of people don't agree with the calls when obviously you're not the one who's benefiting from the call. So, sometimes you agree, sometimes you don't.
That one was a plain given, though. Info agent just sent it up on the inside.
With circuit racing, it's obviously a lot clearer when you can see in a situation like that, he took away his line and he didn't give him enough room to get around the corner safely together. So in a situation like that, he just came in a little bit too late, didn't brake early enough, and that's
ran
penalty.
Out of talent in the corner in the apex there. Right, let's have a look location list. Let's have a look where we were last week and where we are going. So last week it was all about Germany. That's right, Kim.com's hometown. Matthew Bull Clark took it out. But this week it's all about the United Kingdom, Simon.
Yeah, we've got a double header tonight at the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit, and we finish things off at the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit, where obviously they run the British Grand Prix. Two really famous circuits in the United Kingdom, and I'm really looking forward to racing here tonight. Is there any sort of particular favourite for you guys tonight? What do you think, Brendan?
Oh, look, the sprint race is 9 laps, 8 races. They proved to be pretty epic last week, so I'm not interested in the long races. I just want, fast, good pace, door to door, Rubbins racing. Let's have a look at the car. Darren, now, you're a Nissan R35 driver, so run us through a bit of this.
All right, yeah, so the car tonight is a Nissan R35 GT3 rear-wheel drive, top speed of 304 k's an hour, 3.5 seconds to 100 kilometres, 515 horsepower, and weighing in at 1,310 kilos.
Now, mate, you're the only driver in New Zealand or Australia to be silly enough to build an R35 where a headlight like that is $5,000. So if you put it in the wall, it's an expensive car.
Yeah, they're not cheap. For retail pricing for headlights, tail lights, and things like that, which are usually quite high target items in this sort of drifting. We have a lot of concrete all-rounds where they get a lot of, you work out your tail lights. So, probably not the smartest car to build in terms of drifting, but we went forward with it anyway. I don't regret it. It's been an awesome chassis to work with, and I can't express enough.
You've done pretty well because you took the New Zealand title. Big difference though is off the factory floor, you've got four-wheel drive, and tonight, and you run a two-wheel drive.
Yeah, so mine's obviously converted a lot from drifting, from the original four-wheel drive VR motor. Mine's running a straight six single turbo. We've changed engine, gearbox, diff, everything, gone from four-wheel drive to two-wheel drive.
Nissan, though, for the RB people out there, it's still a Nissan power plant. It's not a V8 in there.
No, we've tried to mix a little bit of the old GDR with the new GDR by going to a RB motor. So that was the motor that came out from 1990 or early to right up until the R34. So we sort of thought we'll mix a little bit of the old with the new and something we know inside out, being the RB, and go from there and try to develop the chassis.
Mate, you're a book of knowledge, and we're going to find out all about Nissan tonight because that is what we are racing. But if you guys want to get your own little supercar, your own experience, well, Driven have hooked it up for you. So driven.co.nz, it's really simple. All you've got to do is get onto their website. It's a Lamborghini Huracan, that's right. You can drive your own Huracan at Hampton Downs, and you can have a night at SkyCITY as well for you and the partner, or you and your boyfriend, whichever you choose to be or want to take out to the track. All you've got to do is get to driven.co.nz. There's a special word that's going to pop up during tonight's show on their page and also potentially in the show as well. So just stay tuned for that. Simon, you've driven that car, haven't you? Or was it? No. It's one Simon hasn't driven. Every week he's like, yeah, I've driven that. The Super, I drove that last week. So, oh, Jesus. Okay, we'll go over that anyway. Track conditions. Let's have a check out what we are going to have at the track. Simon, you're the book of knowledge around this one. Kent, we're going to Kent.
Going to Kent, yeah. Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. Awesome little circuit. Tonight, the temperature on the track is only 4 degrees though, so it's pretty cool in Kent. So these guys are going to be slipping and sliding all the way through turn 1 at the race start. Ambient temperature of 25 degrees and only 2 kilometres per hour northeasterlies. Medium cloud, so might want to bring your brolly because it is the British winter here tonight at Brands Hatch. 9 laps tonight, 2 races, and the second race is 8 laps. I can't wait.
All right, let's have a look at some of the qualifying results. It's already done. No surprise here, Kyle Madden, the Australian, takes out first position. He's on pole position. And yes, Simon, I see you waving your hands around. Simon Bishop. And he's got a lot of experience. He's just been over to Thailand, is it? Germany to
yes.
race for Esports. Robert Murphy's Law Northway. So Robert Northway, Kiwi. Woohoo! Hey, look, Darren, it's your livery on that car. Robert Northway in third position. And then last week's sort of leader, so to speak, is Matthew Pluck, Simon.
Yeah, Damien Main down there in P5, Monkey Matt Smith in P6, Seika in P7, Prenz, John Baggs and Info Agent completing the top 10. But Robert Northway, one place grid penalty, maybe had a bit of an off-road excursion there at some point during that qualifying session, or maybe got in the way of someone, so unfortunately for him he loses out on a front row start. EVP in 11th, SYF Crimson in P12, Alistair Coopers in P13, Daniel Pinkham in P14, and Alki completing the order here tonight. So here we are, it is raining. I said bring the brolly, because it looks like it's going to be a wet one here at Brands Hatch for the first race. It's a Nissan GDR all throughout the field. You see that iconic Nismo livery there on the inside. Uphill start for the race here, and then a big plunge down into turn 1. It is Kyle Madden starting on pole position. A standing start here for these GT3 cars. Usually you wouldn't see that. You normally see a rolling start for these GT3 cars, but we'll get racing in a moment's notice now. Let's see who can get the bags lit up for the start here at Brands Hatch. It is race 1 here, Season 3 Project Cars 2. Looks like Kyle Madden has made a good start into turn 1. He gets the whole shot, with Simon Bishop making a good start, staying into P2. Matthew Pluck, Robert Northway in 3rd and 4th. The cars make it through the first turn cleanly. Looks like despite the conditions, it is very wet here at Brands Hatch. Bit of spray coming off the rear of these cars. Simon Bishop showing the nose down into turn 3 there, showing some early intent, but those Nissan GDR engines are just hustling on the first lap here, all making their way through the first few corners without too much drama. Let's see if they can get through the uphill section nice and cleanly.
Oh, it was a pretty clean start there. Darren, how cool is it to see your livery out there in 3rd position? It was the throwback, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's for us, it was a retro. It's 50 years of GDR this year, so it's cool to sort of mix a little bit of the history and such an iconic livery for us. It's a very, very iconic livery in the southern hemisphere from the Australian Bathurst racing back in 1990.
That's got some interesting history, and especially in these conditions too, wasn't it? I think maybe one of the most iconic races in Bathurst history with that livery there. Godzilla, they called that car, didn't they? Because of its giant-killing nature.
Yeah, it's funny that that livery, when Mark Scaife and Jim Richards raced that race, actually finished one whole lap ahead of 2nd place, so that was quite a dominating win for them.
The Ford and Holden fans were not happy, were they?
No, and that was, I think, one more year after that, and then the GDR was outlawed from the Supercar series.
So I think we saw just in the background there, Damien Main maybe going a little bit wide here, but the battle for first and second is heating up at the moment. Simon Bishop sort of didn't really show completely what he was made of at round 1, but throwing caution to the wind perhaps, just trying to get a few laps under his belt in that Porsche before maybe just sending it in round 2 here tonight. It is Kyle Madden who leads the way with Simon Bishop in 2nd and Robert Northway in 3rd. Matthew Bull Pluck sitting just in arrears in P4. The top 4 are separated by only a few car lengths now. They've split themselves from the rest of the field. It looks like Monkey Matt has got up into P5 as well. So one of the cars dropping down there to the back end of the top 10.
All right, Alex, so Darren, you're an avid sim racer, so you do racing, you don't just do drifting. Something like this, as a sim racer, you're out on wets, right? For the people tuning in right now, if it's going to dry out, what are you looking for if you're at the front of this pack here and you're in this race?
Yeah, so that would be a decision you'd have to make pretty confidently. If it started to dry out at this point, you'd have to really weigh up if you can get onto a slick tyre and the track's going to be dry enough that you can make up the time for that pit stop. If you're towards the end of the race, it wouldn't benefit you, as you'd have to try to get into the pits, get on the slick tyre, and then try to catch that person who hasn't pitted. So it's really you've got to weigh up your options of how many laps you've got to go, how dry the track's going to be, and if it's going to stay dry.
Well, looks like a bit of a mistake there from Simon Bishop. I talked too soon. He's opened the door up for Robert Northway, and it looks like Matthew Pluck is going to try and capitalise on that as well. Dropping down to P3. Can he hold on to the final position on the podium? Cleanly through turn 3 they go. Matthew Pluck gets really loose on corner entry there, drops back a few car lengths. I was just going to say a little bit earlier, Simon Bishop was sort of the aggressor, but then went on the defence after a couple of little wiggles through the back end of the track. But Robert Northway, after that penalty that he sustained in qualifying, has got back P2, is looking like he's going to hustle and try and get past Kyle Madden.
Now look, last week we had the Porsche. Last week was it a four-wheel drive setup versus a two-wheel drive? So two-wheel drive. Now it's wet, obviously. The sprint races last week provided some exceptional racing straight out of the gate. We're lap 3 here of 9, live out of SkyCITY Sky Tower, and this is the ANZ Championship, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're just tuning in on Sky TV, there's drivers from all over Australia and New Zealand. You're talking Massey, Puhoi, Rotorua, South Island, and over towards Bathurst as well. They're all racing, and it's Australian, unfortunately, right now for me, because I'm a Kiwi that's leading Kyle Madden out in front. Further down the field, we look right now in 4th position, Matthew Clark, and we're joined by none other but the New Zealand current champion, Darren Kelly, who drives a Nissan R35, like you see on the screen right now, and his livery is very much like the one in 2nd place. Robert Northway did well off the getting the grid penalty.
Yeah, all things considered, I think he'll be looking to just get a good result under his belt tonight, knowing that in these sprint races, you probably do want to get the best result possible, get that 100 points under your belt, because the feature race, you're going to get 200 if you can win it. You really want to capitalise on that as well. Consistency is obviously key, and your teammate, Cole Armstrong, managed to win an entire D1 ANZ Championship without winning a round. It just finished up towards the top. Yeah,
consistency is always the key. You've got to be in that top sort of 4 the whole way through the season to be able to hold on to any chance of a championship. You fall back in one round, it's sort of one round you can probably afford to sacrifice a little bit, but you really got to push hard for the rest of the rounds and make up for that.
And let's talk about this championship. So we actually got a drop round. If you weren't tuned in last week, the drivers can actually choose a drop round, which means if they somehow internet gets killed because mum pulls the plug out because she doesn't want you to be on the computer, well, you can drop that round. So we've got a drop round in this championship, which is good. We're going to finish in championship round 7. So, and then we go for an all-out dogfight at Bathurst. $6,000 up for grabs in AUD as well. So nice little prize kitty to take away, and then more prize money on the Bathurst final, where all the, I guess the top 8 will be coming into studio. So championship points right now, it's only round 2, but these top 4, the pressure's on them really, so they get that leapfrog and they can, it's money, it's their bragging rights.
Yeah, so obviously you like having that round 1 win. That's the best result, best place to finish, and best way to go into your season. Obviously, it's one thing to win a round, it's another thing to win a championship. You've got a long way to go before you're going to have as you can see, there's an easy mistake made coming into turn 1, just turning it around. So mistakes like that can cost you a championship. If you can't make that ground back up, if that happens to you in a couple of events, then those points slip away from you.
How do you deal with that in the sense of pressure? Now, you've won rounds and you've won a championship. Say you win round 1. Does that put more pressure on you? Do you get anxiety from it, or does it actually calm you a bit?
I think everyone has a different opinion on it all. It affects different people in different ways. For me, it's confidence. It's good. The car feels good. I feel good. It shows that it's competitive. And going into round 2, it felt good. Like you've got the advantage. You're going in leading in the best possible position. So,
Bull, Matthew James Clark, he's going to be potentially confident. He's sitting currently. Where is he sitting at the moment, Simon? Fourth position. So 0.2 seconds behind the leader in the wet Brands Hatch track at the moment. So I guess when you're sitting further down the field and you have a loss, how do you get yourself back in the game?
You just got to prepare and come back into it, and just obviously try your hardest to get that high qualifying result. For us with drifting, that's a little bit different. Qualifying doesn't always give you the big advantage. However, in circuit racing, that's grid position. So you really want to qualify well and just have clear track in front of you. So as long as if you're back towards the back of the pack, that's when you're going to get caught up, tangled in other cars and potentially be taken out when it's not your fault. So you really want to try to start up the front of the pack and get some clear air and just bank some points.
So we're on lap 6 of 9 here at Brands Hatch. Kyle Madden currently leading the way. Robert Northway, he had the lights flashing, but he's just dropped back. Still in P2 there, a second adrift with Simon Bishop. Rounding out the top 3 at the moment, Matthew Pluck, our championship leader. Just sitting off the podium positions at the moment in 4th, with Monkey Matt not far behind him in 5th. Seika will be wanting to make some headway early on. He's P2 in the championship at the moment and is currently 6th on the road.
All right, sprint races here for the first race, the first sprint race of 3 races tonight. We see it's all about the Australian Kyle Madden. Last year it was all about another Australian, which was Daniel Shields. The Aussie actually just came and took it from us live here in the beautiful SkyCITY Theatre, and he has gone on to be, what is it, something, a Formula One, a ridiculous amount of money involved, and he's actually now driving for Mercedes, is it?
It's crazy. He's basically a factory McLaren driver now. He's been drafted into the F1 2019 Pro League. Probably earns more than me just for playing video games. So pretty crazy, these guys. He can earn a salary. I know that there was one guy who recently picked up a gig with McLaren and is one of the official McLaren simulation drivers because he's just that good. So you can make a living out of playing video games. So tell mum, come on, let me just do a few more laps of the Nürburgring. And hopefully you can make something of it like these guys are tonight. Simon Bishop is one of those trying to make a name for himself at the moment, currently down in P3. He recently went over to Germany, as we said earlier before, to compete in the Gran Turismo Sport Championship, the Manufacturers Championship, and won that with 2 other players for Toyota. So a fantastic result for Simon Bishop as he tries to forge a career for himself. Robert Northway, it looks like he's taking the lead now. I think we might have had a bit of an issue there for our race leader, possibly disconnecting there. With only 3 laps to go, Robert Northway has taken the lead, Simon Bishop is 2nd, and Matthew Pluck is P3.
Huge upset there for Kyle Madden. Remember, we're talking championship points there, 100 championship points. Darren, you said it was a difference of 7 in your championship, so and
yeah,
six grand on the line.
Yeah, between me and Cole last year it was 7 points, so that could really play a big factor in how this plays out.
All right, you do get a drop round, so whether he has a strong sprint race in race 2 and a strong feature race.
Well, can he come back? You know, we got to see whether or not his internet connection is working over there in Aussie. Maybe the rain in Brands Hatch is just having a bit of an impact on him tonight. A bit of a moment there for Kyle Madden, who was leading this race under pressure from Robert Northway, is unfortunately disconnected and DNF'd from this race. So at the moment, with only 2 laps to go, it looks like it's going to be an easy win here for Robert Murphy's Law Northway ahead of Simon Bishop and Matthew Bull Pluck. But anything can happen, as we've seen already with our race leader disconnecting.
All right, so we're in the UK in Kent, if you would want to know where we are, which is Brands Hatch, and you can actually win your own drive of a Lamborghini Hurricane. Or maybe you could be like Mad Mike down at Hampton Downs, and there you go, tonight. The code is CAR. Quite simply, just get onto driven.co.nz, enter the code where you've got to enter the code, and you could be winning a night for you and the partner, or you, whoever you choose, at SkyCITY. That's right, live here. We are out of SkyCITY, and you can also run a drive of that supercar. Simon, you've done a bit of driving, obviously, with Velocity, and you got to drive the Super recently. What are some of the other cars that you guys get to swingle under your media official title?
I don't actually get to drive a lot of cars, but I got to drive a proper race kart recently, and that was otherworldly.
Well, we all know how you go in race cars.
Oh, mate, I just went full send and bogged the thing. You know, it was a lot of fun, and I'm sure, as you know, jumping in, going from a road car, Darren, into a proper, a fully fledged race machine. It just sensory overload, isn't it?
Oh, there's for something that's, for me especially, it's being involved in motorsport. There's so many different disciplines of motorsport. Been fortunate enough to obviously be involved in drifting. I've been offered drives in a midget, a sprint car,
oh, wow.
And all sorts of other crazy cars, and yeah, it's crazy how different each vehicle is, and
it's awesome, right?
Yeah, it's amazing.
All right, lap 9 of 9. This was the first sprint race here for round 2 of the Project Cars Series 3 Championship, and it's all about Robert Northway. He really didn't have a lot of good luck in the previous championships. Just little mistakes have hurting him, but he's really taken this one in. Funny enough, the livery that runs on your R35, Darren, so you must be pumped with that.
Yeah, it's looking good out there on track, and yeah, it suits perfectly this year, 50 years of GDR, so retro livery looking good.
So here we go, only one more corner left for Robert Northway. A 2-second lead over Simon Bishop. Bishop will be pretty happy, all things considered, I think, after starting P2. But it is Robert Northway who got that grid penalty, and he will flash his lights home across the line here at Brands Hatch to take race 1 here tonight. The sprint race ahead of Simon Bishop and Matthew Bull Pluck. Monkey Matt will come home just off the podium there in P4 with Seeker in P5. Great result for him.
Well, you've got to be stoked with that. 3 Kiwis across the line. Unfortunate for Kyle Madden. Seeker in 5th position. We have no idea who this person is. We're going to find out potentially some more about that a bit later on. Going further down the field, Alistair Cooper's, he did do all right last season, so you'd expect to see he actually gave us some really fun races. Main, Evie, Crimson, Info Agent, he was the one who got that penalty. Unfortunately for him, Alki Prens rounds it out 14. So we had a couple of drop-offs there in the first sprint race for Project Cars. Darren, I guess overall we didn't see a lot of close proximity racing, but nonetheless, still some good racing.
Yeah, that's some really good racing in the wet conditions. That's not easy, and these cars are a handful in the dry. So to come away with minimal crashes, minimal spins, that's a really good result.
All right, that is us done. So we will find the official results out coming shortly. There we go. Robert Murphy's Law. We make it official. We put it on the board. A couple of little penalties on the right-hand side of your screen you can see there, but nothing that drastically changes it. New Zealand Simon Bishop, I should say, picks up 2nd.
Matthew Pluck rounds out the podium there, just ahead of Monkey Matt. Saker rounds out the top 5 there. John Baggs, Alistair Kuipers, Damien Main, EVP, and SYF Crimson completes your top 10, 28 seconds across the top 10 field there. Alki in 12th, just behind Info Agent. Prens and Daniel Pinkham completes the field.
All right, so that is your first sprint race from Brands Hatch in Kent. It was okay. It wasn't as good as last week's first couple of sprint races. We were sort of on the edge of our seats as far as those ones go. But we will be obviously having another sprint race and a feature race. We're going to be finding out some more information about the competitors, some information about what's coming up in New Zealand motorsport. We're going to find out more about sim racing, esports, and what Darren's got as well. But I guess before we do that, we're going to have a little quick advert break. Get on to driven.co.nz right now. Enter that little code you've got. Now's your opportunity. Stay with us. We're about to go racing again at Brands Hatch here live at the LPL studios.
Like us, you're passionate about cars. At Star Insurance Specialist, we create custom policies for Kiwis with exceptional vehicles. If you own a vintage, classic, performance, project or prestige car, your needs don't fit neatly into a box. We think special and unique cars deserve special and unique insurance. We don't let robots determine policy or price. Get on the road with a custom policy from Star Insurance Specialists. Go to starinsure.co.nz today.
War is upon us.
They might have found another kill. Carly out of position.
And there will be no dialogue.
He's just beyond godlike. The words speak for themselves.
Show no mercy.
It's gonna be a wash as everyone is either dead or retreating.
And be relentless. Enlist for war.
Test your limit. Drive with the fastest.
Into the inside. Has he got it, McQueen? Will he block?
Take control.
And he gets it. Job done. Can he hold on to it?
Redefine speed.
Home straight. Who's it going to be?
Fantastic racing. Look, he is pumped. He is absolutely stoked.
Be the fastest.
The hunt begins. Scanning the area.
Champion double kill.
Zipline deployed. Sorry you died.
This is where it ends.
G'day, I'm Sam, and here at driven.co.nz, we've got a nifty toolbox to help make buying and selling a car easier. Selling, but not sure what price to put on it? Our car value calculator will give you a really good starting point. If you're buying a new car, our cost to run tool will give you a rough estimate of what the car will cost you each year to run. We can also tell you the best time to sell so you get the sweetest possible return. Check out the toolbox at driven.co.nz.
This is just clinical.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. If you're tuning in from Sky TV, we are live out of the Sky City Sky Tower for the Project Cars 2 ANZ Championship. That's right, we are up to Series 3 and we've got three-time New Zealand champion Darren Kelly joining us. He's the current Drift King for New Zealand. Welcome back from the event. And of course, Simon, Velocity News, the brains. Right, so look, first race, Simon, you know, what did you think? Honest opinion.
Well, bit of drama there, you know. Kyle Madden just dropping out completely. So he gets a complete DNF, had a chance of getting 100 points there, and he's going to get zilch. So not good for him.
I think he does by default. They might award him some gold star points.
It's not 100 points though.
It's not 100 points. So well, we've got another 100 points up for grabs very, very shortly. So if you're just tuning in, we have 2 sprint races. We've just done 16 races from Australia and New Zealand competing for 6 grand AUD. That's right. So we've got one more sprint race and a feature race. So before we do that, we had this guy last week. And we know nothing about him, Sika, and I've asked the producers, like, who is he? And they don't know anything. All we know is we've got some vision, and he's got this. This is how he races. This is all he's going to give us.
Yeah, he chose not to tell us his actual name because he wanted to be purely known.
I wonder if this guy's actually like a Motorsport New Zealand personality, or he's
like Greg Murphy or something under the covers.
Well, so what he said is. To the producers, well, yeah, the producers thought it was Darren Kelly, but obviously he's here and he's not racing, so it can't be him. Now, he has said though, if he makes the final, the land, you know, where they come into the studios, he's going to race like that.
Oh my gosh! Surely that's hard with such big hands and big feet to hit the brake and accelerator. That looks really hard, Darren. Yeah, a bit different, hey?
Yeah. I find it hard enough with just normal shoes on, so I don't know how he's doing that.
But you guys take your shoes off, don't you?
Yeah, on sim racing, yeah, we do usually. But yeah, he done pretty well in that race. He, fourth or
fifth?
Total unknown person. We're gonna dig more on that. And if you're joining us on Twitch, get in on the conversation as well, and maybe you could fill us on some information. If you're tuning in on Sky TV, download Twitch, you'll see what we mean. Just search Let's Play Live. Now, we're going back to Brands Hatch very shortly, but let's look at the track conditions of what we're going to be racing for sprint race number 2. Simon, where are the opportunities to pass? Where's the danger, and what are we looking at?
Well, the forecast again is for overcast, and we weren't expecting rain, but we got it anyway. The ambient temperature is balmy 20 degrees and 29 on track today. The wind has not changed at all, but the track temperature has definitely stepped up a lot. So maybe a few more UV rays on the track that will make things interesting for the drivers. Maybe a little bit more grippy. These guys an opportunity to get some heat in their tyres, get that rubber stick into the tarmac. So one more race here, 1 lap shorter than the last one, an 8-lap sprint to the finish here at Brands Hatch to close out the sprint races. This is qualifying here for race 2 tonight. We have another race after this, a feature at Silverstone Grand Prix, but this is qualifying. We didn't get to see qualifying before in race 1, but for race 2 we get a glimpse at these guys setting some fast laps. You can see Kyle Madden has managed to make things interesting by coming back into the lobby. 15 races, fortunately one driver unable to make it tonight.
So one driver's actually using his drop round this round. So previously he had something that was part of his championship. He said, oh, well, if I can miss that one on the drop round, sweet as, I'm in. So we are in qualifying at the moment. Now, this is the crucial part. Darren, obviously, you guys in drifting, it's how how much pressure is on that? We're going to watch Kyle Madden on qualifying, see his consistency as Australian, he was leading. But for yourself, I guess, let's first talk drifting. How much pressure? Lots of pressure, or are you prone to it now? You're kind of resilient to it.
Pressure. Oh, there's always pressure, you know, like especially when it comes down to the final round and you're trying to take out the championship. For me this season, being in leading coming into the final round, it was a lot of pressure. There's the opportunity for Adam Davies and Finger Dan to both pass me, and me go from first to potentially third. If I had a bad round, and it doesn't take much to have a bad round. You could blow a gearbox, have a car issue where you can't continue. If that happens after qualifying, you don't even have the option to swap cars, so you're instantly at a huge disadvantage, and you're basically leaving it open for those guys to get a good result and take the championship away from you. So
a certain amount of that it's noticeable, right? You blow a gearbox. Obviously, your team is an astounding team. A lot of our top teams in New Zealand motorsport, the prep that you put in pre to an event depicts what happens at the event. You know, oil checking, gearbox checking. You guys take your gearboxes out, you take it into Casper, you get them checked and all that sort of stuff. But a certain amount of motorsport, and you accept that, so to speak.
Yeah, so we do as much as we can in preventive maintenance and trying to the upkeep of the car and making sure that it's 100% as much as it can be for us to turn up on the day and not have any issue. And sometimes it does. Sometimes you just can't foresee something like that. It might even be some contact in practice or qualifying. You might have contact with a wall. We do a lot of concrete wall rounds. You could have some damage sustained that is unfixable coming into battles. You don't have a lot of time going from qualifying to battles sometimes. So yeah, we do everything that we can, but sometimes it's out of your control.
Prep is key, seat time is key. Now we'll touch on seat time in a second. We're in qualifying at the moment, ladies and gentlemen, for the sprint race number 2 here on board with Matthew Pluck. A minute to go. These guys are just, obviously, you know, you've only got, say, 3 or 4 minutes, so in this instance, you're putting heat in the tyres for the first lap, right? You're just getting your groove on?
Yeah, so you want to try to sort of get a little bit of free space around you. Anytime that you're battling for a position with another vehicle, you're going to be both slowing each other down. If one person's trying to block and the other person's trying to stay ahead or get ahead, you're going to be losing time. So you want to get yourself in a nice clear area and just lay down some really good runs, get the heat and tyres on the first lap, and then just try to bank out some really good runs and really good laps over the next 3 laps or so. All
right, so prep is key, and in seat time, I guess it's some of these guys, they do like 20, 30 hours a week to practice for this Project Cars Championship. A bit harder when you're a drifter, so you do a lot of esport, a lot of sim racing to get that seat time.
Yeah, for me, I try to do as much as we can. Spare time, we're obviously busy a lot, and during the season it's pretty full on. We're either at events or working on the car or trying to do testing or sponsorship obligations. So any time that I sort of get, especially coming into a round, I try to jump in the sim and try to get some seat time. It's not necessarily to get an exact replication of driving a drift car in real life, but it is practicing all of the little, the timing, switching, left foot braking, the chasing, and just making everything visually, mentally, mental training, and trying to put it all together so that when you get in the car, it's just muscle memory and you're just doing what you've been practicing on the sim. So,
and that's pretty intense. And you do this isn't just with you. You practice with the likes of Mad Mike, Shane Van Gisbergen.
Yep, yeah, all these guys. Scott McLaughlin just got a pretty amazing sim. And yeah, all these guys do the same thing. It's all just trying to train your body to do certain things. These sorts of games are perfect for replicating the driver inputs. So you might not feel the car reacting, but your inputs are definitely transferred across to real life driving.
So here we go, qualifying finish here at Brands Hatch. Robert Northway has done a 1:23. How's this for precision? 0.999. So he is the only driver in the 1:23s ahead of Matthew Pluck. We will see the standings in a moment. Simon Bishop actually gets into P2 there with a late run to the flag, 6/10 off the pace of Robert Northway. So Northway after that race 1 win, feeling inspired, and he's just gapped the field in qualifying. Matthew Pluck picks up P3 ahead of Prenz. Prenz down there in P4, and Kyle Madden disappointing in there down in P6, 1.5 seconds off the pace. Alistair Kuipers does well in P5, John Baggs, Monkey Matt, Seeker, and EVP completing the top 10.
Well, we're just looking in the driver chat as they talk, you know, and you were talking about flying laps and how people had offs and certain drivers had come off and come onto the track and mocked up other people's flying laps, and you see it. Whether there's some tactics involved or not, and that is another thing, but we are about to go live. 8 laps. This is the last sprint race. It's in the dry. Will it give us the goods? It's going to be an exceptional one before we go for the main feature race here at Brands Hatch, Kent, the UK. Project Cars 2. Simon, you love doing this start. You're very good at it, so I'll let you take it away.
Here we go, 8 lap sprint to the finish. Robert Northway on pole position here alongside Simon Bishop, who will get the whole shot into turn 1. We are racing here at Brands Hatch. It looks like Simon Bishop has got a tardy start there. He's going to drop down to P4 while Robert Northway gets a great start to lead the field into turn 1. They go 2 wide behind. Matthew Bull Pluck picks up P2, and Prenz has made a stellar start. Best one of the season. Up to P3, bit of banging doors behind. Simon Bishop barges his way back through to get up into 3rd place. A good comeback after dropping down from the front row of the grid. Prenz down to P4 now. Kyle Madden trying to make some headway as well. We look behind. Can he make some room and get up into P4? It looks like it. Goes side by side with Prenz, and Prenz, after that great qualifying effort, is dropping down the order quickly. John Baggs down there in P6, but it is Robert Murphy's-Law Northway who currently leads the way. It looks like one car's pulled over, so maybe, oh no, there's a shut behind. I think Northway maybe, did he have a penalty, a time penalty to his name? He decided to drop back behind Matthew Pluck. Bit of shunting going on behind. Can't quite pick up who that is. No big players at this point. We see Simon Bishop go wide. EVP off the track at the moment. Simon Bishop, despite that off, has managed to maintain 3rd position. Kyle Madden up into 4th, and Prenz down into P5 now, but it is Matthew Bull Pluck. Looks like who is going to lead lap 1 here at Brands Hatch. Kyle Madden after the drama of race 1 where he was leading and suffered a DNF there after his internet disconnected. Hopefully he's done a bit of a speed test to make sure that his connection is okay. Bit of a battle going on behind him between Prenz, Kuipers, Seeker, Monkey Matt. Monkey Matt trying to make some headway as well early on in this race. Seeker, who is P2 in the championship currently, had a great start at the Hockenheim Grand Prix circuit, benefited from some early drama when the rain came down and everyone was caught napping. He got on to the slick tyre, or to the wet tyre I should say, quickly while everyone else stayed out on the slicks. Let's see, is that Prenz up ahead, defending there from Alistair Kuipers. Kuipers is putting on the pressure on Prenz. Jinx out, maybe got a little bit loose there. Seeker is going to go through there on Kuipers. Kuipers looked like he was the aggressor for a bit, then went on the defence now as Monkey Matt. Shows his nose down into the penultimate corner, but can't make any room down there. And these big, bad, brutish Listen, GDRs are quite a big car, aren't they, Darren? They're not small by any means. A bit bigger than your old R34.
Oh yeah, these cars are massive, and a good example of that this season for us was myself going against Joel Hedges at Bay Park. It was a pretty good indication of how big the R35 is.
What does Joel drive?
AE86, so a very small little Toyota Corolla.
Half the size, yeah?
Yeah, so it looked like a bit of a bully.
Bit of sideways action from Robert Northway there, coming off the front straight. Bit of an off-camber corner as well, drifted down through there, but manages to hold his position point, 1 of a second behind. Does allow a bit of a gap to close, but a good little battle there that was going on. 5th, 6th, 7th. Seeker, yes, definitely interesting one to watch there. If he's isn't his Sonic suit or something there. Triverin.co.nz, ladies and gentlemen. The code for tonight is car. Get on there and enter it if you want to drive your own Lamborghini Huracan. That's right, at Hampton Downs you can drive your Lamborghini. Oh yeah, because that mad Mike builds a Lamborghini, alright? So is that your next thing? You've got to now get a supercar to drift down?
Well, technically a GDR is a supercar, so...
Oh, yes, my bad, sorry, yes. You are right.
But no, it's crazy. He just continues...
You did it first.
Yeah, well, hey. No, it is crazy. He's... It never seems to fail to amaze people. You think he's done something next level, and then a few months later there's something that tops it. So it's pretty impressive.
And in terms of diversity, D1NZ's probably got to be the most diverse racing series in the country in terms of, you know, people running, Ford Mustangs? Lots of Nissans, obviously, but people are sort of changing things up. You know, you've got the GDR.
Oh, mate, some of the cars that are to be announced of next season. You've got new American muscle. You've got new builds that are just blowing bullet engines. You know, just like.
I heard Maserati at one point.
I can't even fathom the money that's going into motorsport. It's great to see. Those that don't know, we've actually had a bit of a shake-up in New Zealand motorsport. The fans for a long time have wanted to see some changes in New Zealand motorsport. So D1NZ got together with Speedworks, and we've got a pretty exceptional mega motorsport summer coming up. You can check it all out on speedworks.co.nz or D1NZ, where you can see the likes of those Mustangs, those new cars, those radical cars. You talk about concrete rounds. You can see Darren's $5,000 headlights sliding a wall at Bay Park Stadium. Have you actually gone through any rear tail lights yet, or are you that precise?
They're a bit deep set, aren't they?
Yeah, luckily the bumper actually sticks out further, and the tail lights are recessed inside them. So I've been pretty lucky so far. I have actually broken one rear tail light and about 4 headlights. So the headlights are the ones that actually take a beating. But I pretty much put all that blame on Cole Armstrong, who's usually spinning out in front of me, and I end up hitting him. So
his R34, it's like a 1 meter. It's like a 1 meter rear. It just sinks into the wall. So he's all of a sudden like his tyres against the wall, and then his car just pops back out into normal.
Yeah, so it's kind of a style that came around 5 or 6 years ago, where people would remove all of the rear of the car basically. So along the lines of tube framing.
Yep.
It's basically got none of that even. It's not even any of the tube frame. So the rearmost point of the car that's basically structural is where the subframe finishes. So that allows the back of the car to crush right up to almost the rear wheel.
It becomes a hatchback.
Yeah. And
it does. Have a look at the photos.
It pops straight back out.
Cool to see.
But yeah, it's definitely a car that's held together by a couple of cable ties.
Right, okay. So that's the 34, and he does have his stallion of the stable, so to speak, the 250 GT, is it?
Yeah, the G35, which is now a hybrid of a G37. So right. It's a G36 or a G35.7.
It's not a real Skyline, is it though? Not a real Skyline.
Nah. It's not like an R35.
Didn't have an RB in it.
Nah.
So.
All right, what's happening out on track at the moment? We've still got Robert Northway challenging his second. He is currently only 0.6 of a second behind Matthew Paul Clark in the lead. Robert Northway has had a great start to round 2. New Zealand Simon Bishop doing pretty good there as well. Madsy, the Australian, he's unfortunately sitting a bit further down. Damien Main, the other Australian, sitting in 8th position. Only 2 Australians in this one as Prenz now takes a look down on the inside on Seeker, the person we know nothing about. It might be Murphy, it might be Patton, who knows? But I'd say if it was those two, they'll maybe be a wee bit higher in the rank.
All these games are just that good.
Don't believe anything we say, we're just commentators. That's the key here. It's like when you go to a drift event, believe the judges, don't believe the commentator. Nissan R35. So Darren, we've got this mega motorsport show coming. You've seen other classes. How much racing do you do versus drifting? Do you do much racing on the esports as well?
Yeah, I'd love to get in and on some races, and yeah, there's plenty of different disciplines. Obviously, in project cars, there's everything from GT3, supercar. All the tracks are available on here, so it's awesome to get out and try something obviously different. I don't get a lot of opportunity to race in real life as on circuit racing, so it's cool to get out there and try this kind of stuff too.
Well, here we go. The battle for the lead is starting to heat up now. There's only a couple laps left here at Brands Hatch for the sprint race, the final. Robert Northway's got his headlights ablaze, shows the nose down into turn 1. It looks like Pluck's going to go on the defence here. Some great racing. He does the switchback. Oh, there's a bit of contact there. Robert Northway nearly loses it into turn 1. That margin, it was only about 0.2 of a second now, but it's dropped back a little bit. Pluck gets a little bit loose, maybe a little bit of damage there on his Nissan GDR. These boys, it is only 100 points to win it, but these guys are playing for the win here. They want the bragging rights. It is Pluck who currently leads the way with Northway in second, and Simon Bishop is a distant P3 at the moment, but with only 2 laps to go, maybe even a lap and a half, I think Pluck Can he hold on?
Look, is that a silly move by Robert Northway? Such an aggressive, with those curbs off the front straight. Championship points, he nearly takes himself out. Is it better just to sit in second position, take the points? What would you do, Darren?
Well, I guess
winning, right? You want to win it.
The old
Here we go,
saying
takes a look. He does it. That's
contact. Oh, bit of drama there. I don't know whether Pluck will be very happy about that. Northway just gave him a bit of hip and shoulder on the way through the corner there, and Pluck has to relinquish the position there. Well, we were going to ask you, Darren.
I was going to ask you, what would you do? But Robert Northway just showed you what he would do.
Well, if you ain't first, you're last. So I guess that was his mentality, and he's managed to make it stick.
All right, we go for a little replay potentially here of what just happened.
A replay?
A replay, that's right. I got told off for asking those last week. Here we go. Justin Brooks on the inside, and Matthew Bullpluck, was he just not watching?
Did Northway open up the steering wheel there a little bit, you reckon, Darren? Just sort of taking the traditional racing line?
Yeah, it's a very tricky decision to make, but he was far enough up. It looked like he got past, and then he managed to, pull around the corner. He wasn't going off the track, so it's a very...
No, it looks like Northway goes a little bit wide there, and that's opened up the door for Pluck to get alongside there. A mistake from Northway. I wouldn't say it's uncharacteristic because we've seen a few of those from him already this season, and it looks like Pluck is going to go right round the outside. They're going to go side by side here under the bridge. Pluck is going to have the inside line, but does Northway have the grunt to keep the position into this tight right-hander? Let's see what happens now. Oh, Pluck just backs out of there for a moment. Northway, a nearly costly mistake there. There's only a few more corners to go here in race 2, the second sprint race here tonight at Brands Hatch. It looks like Northway, we thought he had it tied up, but a little bit of a mistake there, maybe just a tad of understeer into turn 3. Just cost him time. There is only one more corner after this, the big sweeping banked right-hander. Pluck drops the right rear wheel off the road. Northway has established a lead of half a second now. Through the final corner he comes, up the hill. He will go back-to-back here at Brands Hatch. It's another fantastic win there for Northway. He got given the free kick in race 1, but he's really earned this one in race 2, albeit maybe with a bit of a scare along the way.
That was a very cool final lap, what do you reckon, Darren?
Yeah, that was some good racing. That's very tricky to hold on when the pressure's on like that, and you open yourself up to mistakes when you're trying to push and hold somebody off. So he done well to maintain the position and take the win.
All right, so we rounded out. The other guys have got 62 seconds to finish the race. Pluck, followed by New Zealand Championship. The two Christchurch locals, so first and second goes to Christchurch tonight. Bishop, Madzi, the Australian Seeker, 5th position. It's really frustrating me that we know nothing about this person. Prenz, further down the field, Monkey Matt. Damien Main, the other Australian, sort of sat in the same position the whole race, unfortunately for him. And we go further down, last year's championship competitor, Alistair Kuipers.
Yeah, it looked like at the end there, Simon Bishop was hustling. Had Kyle Madden right on his rear end, trying to get past. Fortunately for Bishop, he gets another podium here tonight.
If you're Robert Northway right now, what's it like to be sitting in that position?
That's obviously, he's had 2 back-to-back perfect results, so he's obviously confident now going into the final. And yeah, best position to be in.
All right, there's how it rounds out, ladies and gentlemen. Kyle Madden, bit of a penalty on the right-hand side there in 4th position. You can see the little yellow ones. And also Damien Knoxide May gets a little bit of a penalty as well. Besides that, Robert Northway is the one to look for next race, and Matthew Pluck. Kyle Madden is also kind of the one in the feature races to watch. Seeker, there's your standouts. You go a bit further down the field. Alistair Kuipers, I should say. EVP having a bit of a race all over. Did we see tyre wear happening in this race as well? There was a bit of sledging, there was a bit of movement. Will that come into play in the feature race going down the field? Monkey Matt, Damien May, Dave Stone, EVP, Daniel Pinkman in 11th position. He'll be definitely wanting to do better next one. Knoxide Invite Agent, Side Crimson, Alki, and John Baggs rounding it up. But you really have to say that's what we love to see here. That was some exceptional racing, Simon, for the final lap of all things.
Yeah, just at the end there, I thought Robert was going to give it away there at the finish. Got a ton of understeer. The thing was just not gripping the circuit, and that really opened the door there for Matthew Pluck to sort of try and go down the inside there. But Pluck may be thinking, consistency's key. Got to just bank those points. Picks up, 88 points for that in second, and I think 100 points there. That's 200 points already for Robert Northway after 2 really good wins.
And remember, $6,000 on the line. So that's why I was like, oh, is Robert Northway going to be chucking away these championship points when we went to Darren? But we're going to find out, because we're going to go to the feature race, Silverstone, after the break here at the LPL studio. So stay tuned. Get onto driven.co.nz and enter that special word to win your own driver, Lamborghini Huracan. Stay tuned. We'll be back very shortly with the 2-time New Zealand champion, with 3-time New Zealand champion, Darren Kelly.
Like us, you're passionate about cars. At Star Insurance Specialist, we create custom policies for Kiwis with exceptional vehicles. If you own a vintage, classic, performance, project or prestige car, your needs don't fit neatly into a box. We think special and unique cars deserve special and unique insurance. We don't let robots determine policy or price. Get on the road with a custom policy from Star Insurance Specialists. Go to starinsure.co.nz today.
War is upon us.
They might have found another kill. Carly out of position.
And there will be no dialogue.
He's just beyond godlike. The words speak for themselves.
Show no mercy.
It's gonna be a wash as everyone is either dead or retreating.
And be relentless. Enlist for war.
Test your limit. Drive with the fastest.
Through into the inside. Has he got it, McQueen? Will he block?
Take control.
And he gets it. Job done. Can he hold on to it?
Redefine speed.
It's a drag race to the finish. Who's it going to be?
Fantastic racing. Look, he is pumped. He is absolutely stoked.
Be the fastest.
The hunt begins. Scanning the area.
Champion double kill.
Zipline deployed. Sorry you died.
This is where it ends.
G'day, I'm Sam, and here at driven.co.nz, we've got a nifty toolbox to help make buying and selling a car easier. Selling, but not sure what price to put on it? Our car value calculator will give you a really good starting point. If you're buying a new car, our cost to run tool will give you a rough estimate of what the car will cost you each year to run. We can also tell you the best time to sell so you get the sweetest possible return. Check out the toolbox at driven.co.nz.
This is just clinical.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are live out of Auckland Sky City Sky Tower for the Let's Play Live tour of the Project Cars Championship, and you can win yourself a drive thanks to driven.co.nz and SkyCity. All you got to do is get onto Driven's website and input that special code that I've been telling you about this whole night, and you can go to Hampton Downs and drive a supercar like Mad Mike Waddett. And we're also joined by Drift King, 3-time New Zealand champion, Darren Kelly, in the studio because it's Nissan week. It's the R35 and you're an R35 champ.
Yeah.
Just throw you under there.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously I drift in R35. This is a bit different with racing a GT3, but yeah, totally different sort of discipline of motorsport, but yeah, it's cool to be here. And
of course, we're joined with Simon Chapman as well. Now, we're going to Silverstone very shortly for the feature race. We've done 2 sprint races, ladies and gentlemen, and it's all been about Robert Northway, this one, which is, it's kind of like you've blessed him because he's got your livery on the car. So let's have a look at our main feature race track conditions. Simon, where's the passing opportunities here? We've got rain too. Ooh.
Wow, okay. Well, it said overcast and cloudy before, and now it's saying rain. So I think we might just get an absolute thunderstorm rolling through Silverstone Circuit here for the race. It is only 16 degrees here. The track temperature is a balmy 28 degrees, and the wind is picking up at 19 kilometres an hour, northeasterly here at Silverstone Circuit. It is the home of the British Grand Prix, a fantastic historic circuit that has gone through so many variations. This is the current variation. Where do you start? You know, it's just, there's so many opportunities here for overtaking. We saw lots of drama here in the British Grand Prix, obviously in the Formula 1 race earlier this season. Maggots and Beckett's obviously a great opportunity for passing, but I think this race will be one to watch. You know, we've got, nearly 20 laps of racing here still to come. But we are in qualifying, and we're watching Robert Murphy's Law in that iconic, historic livery. It does look almost identical to yours, I guess. Yours was sort of a retro take on it, but that is actually sort of like a carbon copy, isn't it?
Yeah, so we got the inspiration from the R32 Bathurst winning GDR in 1991, and that was driven by Mark Richards and Jim Richards and Mark Scaife. Mix those two up. But yeah, it's a very iconic livery in the Southern Hemisphere for us, and yeah, it was cool to do that livery as a 50 years of GDR throwback.
Are you going to stick with it for this season, or are you thinking maybe changing things up?
We'll come out with something new, something fresh, and see where we go. But yeah, those sorts of designs are starting to flow a little bit now, so we'll see what we come up with.
It's kind of the drift away, isn't it? Or at motorsport, every year people are like, oh, what's going to come out?
What's it going to look like?
What's the new liveries?
Yeah. Some people stick to something and like it works well. It's sort of that's more of a traditional motorsport type thing. Is like Scott McLaughlin's, obviously their cars always look the same and super clean and recognisable. So some people go for that. Some people go for the new livery every season, and even halfway through the season switching it up. So
or you go for like the Red Bull style, which is have a sort of a baseline and just go with that and make little minor tweaks every season.
Yeah, constantly changing things, and obviously those are very recognisable cars, but making little adjustments every year.
Now, Simon, what I see here is this is quite a. How long is a lap at Silverstone?
Enough.
So, in other words, we're about to find out.
It's long, yeah.
A lot longer in the wet.
It is quite long. You know, these guys are driving GT3 cars, downforce cars. They're relatively quick. I'd say a lap's probably going to be the best part of 2 minutes.
So you've got 6 minutes. So really, you've got the chance to put in 2 flying laps if you're good.
Yeah.
With after putting in lots of puddles out there as well, and don't know if they're gonna subdue or subside. So you've got 2 chances really at a good lap. So for those people way further down the field, in between say 6 and 15, if you're in that traffic, flying laps is going to be quite hard.
I'd say just get a banker and just try and get 1 lap under your belt, see what you can do for the rest of the session. Looks like maybe the rain has subsided a little bit just from this camera point of view. Robert Northway just grabbing a bit of grass there, that maybe sends him a little bit wide of the apex, slows him down. Is he actually heading for the pit lane? Wow, okay. So an ambitious strategy here from Robert Northway, who is currently back-to-back in terms of wins here tonight. He has come into the pit lane, and is he maybe going to get some slick tyres? I don't think the circuit's going to dry up quick enough for that to work, but he races and we don't, so maybe he's got the inside line.
Yeah, even if you can get some dry lines on the corners, you can sort of manage with a slick tyre, hitting a little bit of wet patches or puddles throughout the straights, but it's really the corners. If you can get a dry line establishing throughout the corners, then you're going to make up some ground.
How good is it reliable pit crew? Because you just came into the pits and there's no pit crew.
It's like Daniel Ricciardo at the Monaco Grand Prix all over again. Where's the tyres?
There's no guns and there's no tyres.
Where's the tyres?
All right, 4 minutes remaining, and we see Kyle Madden in the pits, and we see Robert Northway in the pits. That's really interesting. 2 of the sort of the movers and shakers of this championship are in the pits. What do you take of this? I don't know.
Well, Northway
hasn't banked it.
Yeah, he's not got a time, and there's only 4.5 minutes left here. It definitely still looks quite wet. There is a dry line forming. I don't know if it's significant enough to justify getting on the wets, as we see one car going for a big old spin. Maybe Northway's just decided to stuff it. I'll start from the back of the field.
Yeah, he might even just be making some adjustments to the car and trying to get a little bit more grip for these wet conditions. Seems like there's still a lot of water out on the track, so I'm not sure if that's going to clear in the next 2 minutes or so.
Bishop is currently the man to beat on a 2-minute 10. 6/10 ahead of Matthew Bull Clark and Kyle Madden. watching Bishop now in the number 35 Nissan GTR GT3. GT3 racing, a global format we would have seen last week. That Porsche 911 GT3R, similar sort of style of car, conforms to the same rule specifications. So in terms of your speeds and horsepowers and everything, roughly the same. You're allowed different engine configurations, obviously. So this Nissan GTR running a V6 versus the flat 6 of the Porsche 911. See Ferrari, Bentley, Nissan, Porsche, a few other manufacturers involved in that as well. Lexus, all running in GT3 racing. Has taken the world by storm over the past 5 or 6 years. Hasn't really developed so much in New Zealand. There are a few GT3 cars around, but they are relatively expensive to run and do require quite a bit of manpower. So we've sort of stuck to our V8s, which are pretty much just turn the key and go. So hopefully we'll get an eye on Robert Northway in a moment, because he still hasn't set a lap time yet, and there are only, say, 3 minutes left in this session. Here he is. Maybe he is on the slick tyre. Is this the move of the weekend? Oh, you got really loose over that puddle there. That would suggest that he is on the slick tyre. So we watch now. Is it the right move? He's staying out. He's going to avoid that puddle like the plague. Send it into the final chicane. See how he goes. The car seems relatively stable, but the circuit definitely looks quite slippery.
There's a nice straight line onto the front straight.
Real feather of the throttle there as well. So here it is onto the front straight. We'll stay on board with Robert Northway for a lap here of Silverstone Circuit while everyone else completes their times. Simon Bishop currently leading by just 0.03 of a second, with Prenz putting in another good banker there for P2. Monkey Matt has surged up to P3. There we see one car's gone wide and off the track. Matthew Bull-Pluck is P4, but Northway is still buried at the bottom of the table at the moment. It'll take him 2 minutes to complete a lap around here. I don't know whether he'll have enough time to do 2 laps. We can see me squirming all over the circuit, trying to get some heat, some temperature into those tyres. I do wonder whether it is maybe just too damp out there. Really loose that car is. With all its downforce and wings that it has, it can't overcome the slick conditions here with those slick tyres. Certainly a blue sky though. Hits that puddle again, just has to balance the throttle a little bit. Just a minute to go here.
What does he put down?
Still got half a lap to go here. That Silverstone circuit definitely looks really loose. It gets really wide out onto the AstroTurf. The car just wiggles. They'll come through the maggots and bigots section in a moment. Don't want to be touching those curbs too much, because they might send you off the track, as he digs up a bit of dirt on the way through the corner. He's got one car ahead of him. I don't think it'll make too much of a difference. He gets really loose there, halfway through the corner. How much time can Northway make up, or in fact lose, on these slick tyres? I don't know how this will compare to the top time. Bishop is currently the man to beat on a 2:10. He's done a fantastic job again. He hits that puddle, sends the car a little bit loose and wide of the apex again. Oh, nearly off the track. Super wide line here from Northway. This could be either a really good lap from him or the worst one of the entire field. He's only got 20 seconds left to get around the final corner and potentially start another lap. I think he might just have enough time to do one more lap. So it'll be just dry enough for another lap here. Let's stay on board with Robert Northway. What can he do with 3 seconds to go to the top? A 208.153, so the decision has worked. But Kyle Madden is just 0.06 of a second off the pace of him in P2. He's opted to come into the pit lane. Northway is going to stay out there and actually try and go a little bit faster here. Bishop has come into the pit lane as well. So fantastic result here for Northway. I don't think there's going to be anyone else who's going to try and better him. We see Prenz, Monkey Matt, Pluck, all of those guys staying out on the wet tyre, and they are some 2.5 seconds slower than Northway. So it's been a masterstroke here for the Nissan GTR driver. He's got provisional pole position at the moment, and potentially time for another lap.
Now, quick question, Simon. If you're on slicks right now, for those that are on wets, when they start the race, do they start on the race on wets?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you at the moment.
A lot of people pitting now looking at that same strategy.
Yeah.
Maybe does that put you into the feature race on wets?
Well, hard to say, because we don't actually know what the track conditions are going to be like when it comes to the race start. Generally speaking, when you have a wet start to the race, the cars will start on wet tyres. it'll do that for you, and then you need to
It's
get
a bit of a
onto
reset,
slick.
right?
Yeah, so we wait to see Northway. Can he go even faster? He's absolutely hustling through the Estes section here. Yeah, Kyle Madden just behind before, Kyle Madden backing out.
As you can see the dry line now forming, he's really gaining a huge advantage now being on those slick tyres.
Does this make you want to change your car to grip for a go?
I have thought about that. I've thought about trying to, check a little bit of a different setup in it, put some more grip back in the front of it, and chuck some slick tyres on it, maybe.
You run slick through, but yeah, obviously.
Well, we run semi-slicks, but yeah, if we could get onto a full slick tyre, and go out for some.
You ever put it down the quarter mile?
I haven't yet. I do want to do that. I think judging off of what we've sort of previously put down the quarter mile, I sort of would expect that car to sort of be around a 10 seconds. So.
Well, we just missed that there. It looked like Matthew Pluck put in an absolute belter at the end there. He was about 4 seconds faster than anyone else, and Northway has ended up 7/10 off the pace, so we missed that. Matthew Pluck putting in a really good last lap effort from him. 36 on the first sector there, about a second faster than anyone else in sector 3, so he made up a lot of time there as the track just dried out. Kyle Madden takes P3 there. He'll complete the second row alongside Pren. Simon Bishop picks up P5. Monkey Matt, Seeker, Crimson, Daniel Pinkham, and EVP completes the top 10 running order.
All right, further down there, Alistair Kuipers. You're not going to be too happy about that. Damien Mate, Info Agent, John Banks, and Alki. There is your 15. It is Silverstone. We are going racing. It is raining again. So how heavy that rain is and how many puddles will be determined very, very shortly.
Wow.
Pluck out on the pole position, followed by Robert Northway.
It is very wet here now at Silverstone Circuit. The fans have still come out under the shade here for the last feature race of the night. Let's Play Live, Project Cars 2, Season 3. It is round 2. 8-round championship. 7 rounds for the regular season, and then the LAN here at SkyCITY, Sky Tower for the final. We're going to be a few moments away from the start here. It is absolutely bucketing down here. I'm not sure whether it'll dry up towards the end of this race. We maybe will see a pit stop late.
How cool is that the camera, again, I know it's a game, but it actually has the water beating down on the camera. And if you were to go to Silverstone, everything you see on this track, down to the actual curbing and the size of the curbing and the aggressiveness and the off camber, is exactly as you would see it at Silverstone as well. All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're syncing. We are ready to go racing. The countdown is on, Simon.
3 red lights, we go racing here. Matthew Pluck, these cars are just squirming all over the road to get some grab. It looks like Pluck has managed to get the whole shot into turn 1 with Northway only a few centimetres behind him. Pluck squirming all over the road out of turn 1 there. Kyle Madden picks up P3 off the start, and Simon Bishop has maintained 4th. Good start there for Pluck. He's got a few car lengths already over Northway in these really slippery conditions. So we look behind to see, can they make it through the first few corners without too much incident. Down the straight they come. The first time of asking here, Pluck already out to a 5/10 lead over Northway. Everyone seems to have made it through the first few corners just fine. Pluck, though, has gone really wide down to the corner, and that's going to open up the door for Northway and Madden to go through. So Pluck, an early mistake here on lap 1. The conditions just catching him out, and he got really loose out of the corner there as well. Simon Bishop trying to pick up the pieces and potentially get a podium place here tonight. If he could get another one, that would be 3 in a row for the Dunedin night. But it is Northway who currently leads here, going for the triple. But Pluck is really pushing on. He's trying to get past Madden. They're going to go side by side by the looks of things, if our camera can get it together.
Madden also having a little bit of a challenge there with Robert Northway. Now Pluck closes that gap back out. Very consistent, safe driving on the first lap from all the drivers. No big misdemeanors, no bumping, no rubbins racing.
Yeah, Pluck the only one really making much of a mistake. It looks like Alistair Kuipers might have had a bit of a moment. He's down in 15th. But it is Northway who leads the way.
Ice skating, Darren. Lots of fun.
Yeah, this is some crazy conditions, and obviously the opening lap is when the most, I know everyone's pushing as hard as they can into that turn one, trying to gain some positions, but...
There he goes, Pluck trying to get another place back after that little misdemeanor. Madden, though, holds onto the position, trying to get the up and under. Oh, slots the nose down the inside. But Pluck just has to put on the brakes. Let Madden keep that position for the time being.
All right, now are we going to see, I guess one of the questions is, are we going to see any tactics? Is the weather going to taper off? Is the track going to dry out? Are we going to get into pits? Or is it going to just be a wet race? And it's all going to come down to consistency and no driver error as Matthew Pluck sits on the inside, dives down. Is he going to be able to close the door? Oh, bumper to bumper, door to door here. Does the business, goes through the puddle. Gets the move.
That was a great pass there from Pluck. He really set it up. He went around the outside, which put him on the inside for the next hairpin. Got the advantage there. Colin Madden, though, he hasn't given this one up yet. Pluck goes on the defensive. This is where he made his mistake on lap one. Keeps it nice and straight this time, though. All the while, this is bringing Bishop back into the contention. Can he get down the inside of Madden? There he goes. Side by side, out of the corner here. Down what used to be the old starting grid at Silverstone Circuit. The inside line is the one that you want, and it looks like Bishop might be able to get this place.
All right, lap 2 of 15 here at Silverstone, and
Bit of contact there, those guys getting balked a little bit off the throttle, trying not to spin. Looks like Prenz might get involved as well. Gonna send it down the inside into the S's. Oh, usually wouldn't go side by side through there in the rain, but Prenz, no fear, sends it down.
That's a great pass, and this is exactly what I was talking about earlier on. With once you start battling with another person, it opens you up to opportunity for another person to get involved, or you're opening yourself up to losing a position, and that's a perfect example of it right there.
And the biggest man who's capitalised on this is Northway now. He's 1.9 seconds ahead of Pluck.
Bit of traffic further down the field. New Zealand Simon Bishop, Prenz, Madsy. Nice gapping, so to speak. Not a lot of battles going on at the moment. Now, Darren, off-season for you at the moment. Have you got anything going on, or is it just about getting that car back in and looking at potentially the massive defending title and trying to beat Gaz Wider at his 4-time New Zealand Championship title and maybe going for the 5-peat?
Yeah, got a bit of work to do to catch up and pass Gaz, but it's definitely a goal. And yeah, for us now, it's just about getting the car stripped down, checked over, and everything replaced. They had a bit of a hard life throughout the season, and we tried to keep on top of it as much as we could, but panels take a lot of damage. We've done a few events since then, and it need a little bit of love, so we'll get into that now and get it ready for the upcoming season.
All right, so you've got, I see, I think Summer Bash is usually the start of December, so Mad Mike Summer Bash will probably be, one of your first events, and then we roll out the D1NZ Championship. If you guys want to follow it, D1NZ.com, we start in Teretonga of all places. Obviously, that's huge. You've never been there, and they love motorsport down there. So we've got TCR, TRS, 86s, all sorts of mega motorsport, but a track you haven't driven.
Yeah, it's actually be the furthest south of everything. So
I've never been either.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting.
There's land down there.
Yeah. I thought travelling to Dunedin was a big trip, so it'll be interesting. But yeah, look forward to it.
So you've got Teretonga, then Pukekohe, interesting one there. Then Bay Park, the big stadium custom round for the drifting championship, the only concrete round really besides Pukekohe. Hampton Downs, and finish off Pukekohe again. What other, there's lots of standout things there. If a kid was out there right now watching on Sky TV and they wanted to have a go at motor racing, besides getting a sim, what would you suggest? Getting out to a track day or marshalling or
go-karts?
Go-karts?
Yeah. Well, go-karts is an awesome place to start for any motorsport that you're wanting to get into. Kurt Whitaker started off in go-karts and he became a D1NZ champion. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get into circuit racing. You can go in any direction that you want. It's just about getting out there and having some fun in a car or a vehicle, getting used to it, and deciding what you want to do from there. Saying that, some of the best drivers in the world have come from go-karts, so you could change your mind. You could be like, I want to get into drifting one day, start out on go-karts, change your mind and end up being a Formula 1 driver. So you never know. But yeah, biggest thing is just to get out there and do it.
It might sound like an odd question, but how do you get good? How does sim racing help you in that regard?
Yeah, lots and lots of practice, and that's where sim racing has actually been a huge factor for it. As I said before, it's about seat time and getting as many hours and mental training as you can, and trying to do that at a racetrack with a physical car is difficult.
It's expensive.
Yeah, and for us, we'll be lucky if we get 2 to 3 laps out of a set of tyres. So, in terms of that,
what's the retail on a tyre, Darren?
Well, luckily for us, we've got some awesome sponsors and the Bling company look after us in terms of tyres, but. Tyres can range.
And the crew down in Hamilton's Bling Company.
Yeah.
Just a little selfish plug there for your tyres.
Yeah.
But you go for a lot of
guys
tyres. How many tyres would you go through in a season?
Well, we go through roughly, if it's a dry weekend, 30 tyres would be a pretty average.
30 times 5, you do the math, lots.
Yeah. So
$500 a pop. Oh.
Yeah, so you can burn through them pretty quickly. Wet rounds obviously takes a whole lot less of a toll on the tyre.
How much are you like, it's like as a promoter, I'm like, it's raining, bugger it. But as a driver, you're like, no, tyres are saved.
Yeah, competition-wise, I prefer the dry. I like the speed, the smoke,
great.
Just the aggression, the crowd, obviously. But if it was for fun, if I was just going out to try to have fun, the wet driving is some of the most fun I've ever had behind the wheel of a drift car. Up in Japan, we spent a whole day. It was like it is on track right now, and it was basically just you'd go until you ran out of fuel.
Like you didn't use a set of tyres?
No, not one set.
I remember. So if you guys want to check out Darren Kelly, your Facebook's Darren Kelly Drift, is it?
Yep. And Instagram and YouTube channel.
Now on you've got Drift Biology too. You and Cole Armstrong do all sorts of really weird, wacky videos. Thanks to Dante, obviously editing those. But you had a video. You did a 360 into the hairpin or the corkscrew at Hampton Downs. And it's like ridiculous amount of views.
Yeah. So just off my social media alone it got shared 25,000 times, and it went pretty viral. So that was one of the pretty early on videos. That was the R34 back in the day, and from there, pages, social media, people download it, re-upload it. We saw some pages had
spin there.
Spin.
Pinkham, by the look of it, potentially Daniel Pinkham, maybe on the spin there. Your social media, you guys are. You look at some of these All Blacks. You have how many followers on Facebook?
100,000 on Facebook.
100. That is a ridiculous number. So you get 100,000. So you are a social influencer. Is that what the Gen Z or millennials call you these days, right? So you influence because people trust you. They come on and you say, hey,
I'm going to get a GDR and put an RB in it as well.
Yeah. So that's
I welcome people to give that a go.
Huge amount of people. So if you tuned in tonight from Darren's following, welcome. Thank you for tuning in to us live on Sky TV. We are talking to three-time New Zealand champion Darren Kelly. He drives a Nissan R35. He won the D1NZ Championship. You can see him in this upcoming motorsport championship all over New Zealand as well. And it's just interesting. So consistency and seat time. Hey, if you guys don't have a car out there that you can go and compete in, Project Cars is a great way to get some seat time. And what you're saying earlier on about the muscle reflexology and understanding that totally blew my mind.
Yeah, so it's all muscle memory. When you're in the car, we're not thinking about what we're doing. You're training yourself to a point where you're doing it naturally. Everything, like Pukekohe, for example, you're coming in there at over 200k an hour with the car inches from you in front. You can't think fast enough to react. You've got to do it off of muscle memory. And
wait, let's just rewind there. You come in at 200 kilometers an hour and you can't think fast enough to react.
Yeah,
so
pretty much. When
subconscious, natural instinct memory.
Yeah, you're not physically thinking, grab the handbrake or left foot brake here, or more throttle or less throttle, or steer in or out. Those are all natural instinct that you basically trained yourself to do without thinking about it. So so that's where practicing on the sim comes into play. As much as you can do it, the more you're training yourself to be quicker. The quicker you can do it, the closer you can chase somebody, the more precise you can be.
And you were saying earlier that it's almost better to get on a sim to practice your drifting, because you can just over and over and over and over and over again just do the exact same thing, practice your switching, and like, I guess to an extent, try things that you may not necessarily do in real life on the track and be like, oh, I wonder if this will work, if this will go.
Yeah, it's, for that, for example, with drifting in real life, obviously you've got to have a lot of confidence in the person that you're chasing. But also, if they make a small mistake, everyone makes mistakes. I make mistakes. The best drivers in New Zealand make mistakes constantly. And if you're trying to practice with someone like that, that's when you can damage a car, damage 2 cars, and it doesn't take a lot to break an arm or to break a steering.
An arm, not like your arm, a car
like
arm.
Car's arm, yeah. So a steering arm or a lower arm, and then that puts you out for the day, basically. You've got to take the car back to the workshop, and that's
Can't just hit escape and restart.
No. So that's where the sim racing or sim drifting, you can, if you hit the wall or you wreck your car or you do something that you shouldn't have, then you can just go back to the start and go again.
We do see you guys compete in multi-code as well. A lot of these guys that are competing in project cars, you see it with Simon Bishop, he competes in
Gran Turismo Sport.
You do a bit of Speedway. I know Van Gisbergen does Speedway. What are some of the other ones that you play on? You play on project cars. What else do you?
Yep. So project cars has been one of my favourites. There's also iRacing, Assetto Corsa for drifting. Those would be the main ones. But yeah, there's all forms of motorsport. There's rallycross, there's GT3.
I'm really good at rallycross.
Unintentional rallycross.
Relative to project cars or any other form of motorsport. Because it's more forgiving that there's dirt everywhere, not walls.
I was thinking you doing a bit of rallycross in a drift car.
Yes. So, hey, look, the championship coming next year. Who's take yourself out of the equation. There's a lot of underdogs coming up. Bit of a textbook race, this one, with Robert Northway out there on the lead still. He's got a 3-second lead over Matthew Platt. Kyle Madden, the Australian, sitting behind him, followed by Preenz right now. Here we go, Kyle Madden sitting in behind Platt there. Bit of a challenge going on. Who's your money on for the championship next year if you were to take yourself out and go, like Adam Davies, he was pretty good.
Yeah, that's someone who's obviously he's progressed massively. He's been in the sport pretty close to the same amount of time as me, and he's someone that's really stepped it up in the last few years and been a consistent podium.
Consistency is the championship key, guys. If you're listening at home, sit time, consistency.
Yeah,
don't go for the big in a clip, win it or bin it.
Well, sometimes you got to, like. The last race, for example, putting it all on the line to get the win. Sometimes it comes down to that, and if you don't have that mentality at round 1, then you get to round 3 or 4, and you could be sort of falling behind. So you really want to be thinking going into round 1, pushing as hard as you can.
Look at this challenge. He goes out on the outside, bit of a sketchy. Is he going to get the pass? Comes back onto the inside for the undercut. He's not going to do it, but there's a little battle going on here for 3rd and 2nd position. Is this the right thing to do by Kyle Madden?
Well,
pits. Was that a pit?
Yeah, it looks like Pluck's gone into the pit lane. It's an interesting pit lane here because it's actually quite short. You end up actually going past the guys who are still out on track while you're in the pit lane. You can see now Pluck is already in the pit lane. He's actually still ahead of Madden, so it's not a long pit stop by any means, so it doesn't really cost you that much time. So we see Pluck has come up, as has
It's good to see he's got some crew out on the pit.
Yeah, they got the tyres ready this time. I was going to say, to add to your point, I think an interesting one to look out for has to be Carl Thompson in D1NZ this year. I think in terms of development as a driver, he's come a long way in just a space of maybe even only 2 years.
Yeah, he has some pretty impressive cars. The 2 S15s that he's running at the moment are mind-blowing. If you can get up close and have a look at those are some definitely high-level built cars. And
don't run the guys over.
That guy's brave, standing up there. But yeah, to add on that, Fang is always right there. He's really getting that car dialed in now.
Yep. Because that is it. You've got these guys like Daniel Woolhouse. Fang, he hasn't, and this isn't any disrespect to you, you've had the same chassis for a few years now, so you've got it dialed. Where Daniel, he's gone exceptionally out of the box to a left hook, Ford Mustang, a three-wheeling monster beast that he's had to completely relearn. So, and now, as you say, he's had it a couple of years, he's getting it dialed. So these guys, it takes a while to dial your cars in and get comfortable, like you say, to have that reflexology, that memory of what you're doing naturally in the car.
Yeah, and it's not just even putting a setup in the car and trying to drive it, it's constantly adapting and changing and working out how the car reacts. Like these cars
Different
now.
tracks.
Yeah, different tracks, like you've got to test so much, and that's where the real life testing is crucial, because you've got to set the car up to do what you want. And when it comes down to things like now we're running sway bars or different springs or valving, changing the damping, the shocks and bump and rebound and all these different things, and tyre pressures and everything, trying to get that perfect combination and then trying to dial it in for each track as well is a very, very hard combination to find.
And right, here we go. Sorry, Darren, to interject. Robert Northway into the pit. So what's it called when you early pit Simon in a race?
It's an undercut. So I was just going to bring that up. I think maybe this could either work really well for Northway or really badly. You know, doing that extra lap under the wet weather tyre might work out quite good for him. I'm not really sure at the moment. We could see Madden is taking the lead now, but he's already searching for the water on the track, which there isn't really much of left. We can see Matthew Pluck now. We could hopefully stay with him, because he, I believe, was the first to come in under green to get those tyres now. Was he quick enough?
Well, there's the pit entry. So we're going to watch Northway and Pluck to see.
I think he might get him. I think.
It'll be a close one. He was towards the end of the pit lane, so they should be coming out relatively close.
Remember, it was 4 seconds in qualifying, the difference between these guys. So here comes Pluck. Pluck is P7. Northway's making his way out of the pit lane now. And there he is, there's Northway. So the undercut hasn't quite worked for Pluck.
He's definitely gained some ground though.
Yeah, he's gained a little bit on Northway there. There's only maybe 2 seconds between them, where it was about 4 seconds before.
And now he might have the heat in his tyres where he'll be able to close that gap up a little bit more.
So if you're any one of those guys ahead of Northway who hasn't pitted, as we've seen Northway go a little bit wide of the apex there, I think you have to come into the pit lane now.
So you're saying Kyle Madden, Preens, Bishop, Monkey Matt, all those guys above number 6 are on wets out there at the moment,
got to pit.
And it's going to get hard. It's going to be drying out. So this is the critical pinpoint of this feature race and championship points. So
I don't even think you can factor those guys in anymore, because this is essentially the battle for the race lead. You know, there is only a couple of seconds between them, but it is Northway versus Pluck.
So is that a three-peat? That could potentially be a three-peat.
Yep.
In your livery, Darren. you gave him
the 50 years of GDR luck.
Nissan Nismo. If you guys tuned in on Sky, you can download the Twitch app and join the Twitch conversation. If you don't know what Twitch is, it's on the App Store, and it's a place for gamers that they chat about all things. Now, self-promotion here. If you guys are in the South Island, we are coming round 1. TCR is going to join us. TRS, which is the Toyota Racing Series, the 86 Series, a lot of classes. We've never been down there, Darren, so that's the one thing I'm looking forward to, is it's a new track for New Zealand Motorsport. It was a new track for D1NZ to get down there. As we look down the front straight, there's a bit of a wishy-washy going on in the back there. Kyle Madden now. Madden into the pit.
No, he hasn't. He stayed out. I think Madden's going to try a different option here. I don't think he's going to pit. I think he might just stay out. Northway is 23 seconds adrift.
He's got 5 laps to get it done.
Yeah, with only 5 laps left to go here. I don't know. The difference between in qualifying was about 4 seconds, but I don't know that it's the effect of going. Yeah, I don't think it's actually dry enough for
5 laps to go.
Yeah, for Northway to have come in, get on those slick tyres and go that much faster than Kyle Madden. Unfortunately, what did he do? He did a 2:10 that last time by. We haven't quite got a lap from Northway yet, because he's only recorded as doing a 2:39. The gap is 21 seconds. He's cutting in a decent chunk every few corners. We'll wait now and see what lap time. We can see Pluck. Yeah, Pluck did a 2:07 that last time. So even Pluck was about 3 seconds faster than Madden across 5 laps. I don't think that's quite enough to close down this margin. So Madden might have this one in the bag, and guys like Prince and Monkey Matt are going to get a free kick here.
How fast is the track dry? Like, is it a kind of, in reality of these games, it accelerates?
This is accelerated at the moment. So these guys are running a much dry track, and sometimes it takes the best part of half a day at some circuits to dry out in New Zealand, whereas in this game at the moment, it's certainly drying up quite quick. I think they'll be searching for the water where they can. It still looks a little bit slick in some places. But Madden, here's your man to beat at the moment. He's only got 5 or so laps to go. Can Northway hunt down the race leader and steal the lead back? I don't think it's going to happen.
It'll be calling it to be probably very close if he goes on the same progress as he did on that lap. He came out of the pits with about 25 seconds behind, and now he's 21. Touching on 21. So if he can maintain a 5 second or so increase on every lap with the track drying out, then 5 laps, that's going to be extremely close on the last lap.
And it's certainly a possibility as well. You got to remember not only the fact that Northway is on a slick tyre and the track's getting dry, Madden's on a wet tyre on a track that's getting dry, so the wet tyre isn't going to grip that well. It's going to overheat. It's going to make this thing horrendous to drive.
Open himself up to mistakes, and he could potentially take himself out of the race.
But it is only 4 laps, and we can see now that car gets really loose on corner entry there, so maybe the track is just a little bit too slick for him at the moment. We wait and see what the deficit is at the moment. It's 18 seconds that last lap. Pluck did a 2:07, Northway did a 2:06, and Madden did a 2:10, so that's about a 4-second difference on that lap. I don't know that he's going to catch him.
3rd place last year, Kyle Madden got in the season. He actually puts in about 10 hours a week practice.
Pretty chill.
So yeah, well, some guys were like 30 hours.
Yeah, exactly, relative.
But they were down further down the pecking order, so to speak. But yes, he actually belongs to a Highlands racing team. So he's part of a New Zealand-owned Esports team, which is pretty interesting. You know, there's a lot to know about these guys. You know, he doesn't actually like the GDR. No offense there, only likes the 911. So, yeah, it's Australian. But he's like, just because I'm Australian doesn't mean I like supercars. He likes Indy. So will he do the business? So we're at forced exhilaration of obviously drying up the track. How does that play with the wet spin on a dry track? Does that then just deteriorate the hell out of the tyre?
Yeah, that's what we were saying just a moment ago. It'll heat the blocks of the tyre up, and then they'll start to shift around, and you essentially lose any performance gain that you could possibly get out on it. We just got to remember that while Northway and Pluck are making gains, Madden might be losing as well. So
yeah, as you can see, the track's extremely dry down the straights now.
Wait and see what the lap time is next time by. Prenz isn't too far back either in P2. I think if you're Pluck or Northway, who are now 4th and 5th respectively, you might be knocking on the podium.
I think he's going to have a good chance.
16 seconds the deficit now.
Yeah, Northway making some good ground, getting down to 16 seconds. That's another 4 seconds off that last lap.
So Madden, let's see, he's going to cross the line now. He did a 2:10.2 last time by. He does a 2:10.9, so he drops half a second on that lap alone. Northway here, bringing that margin down. We wait and see now.
Look on the left-hand side of the screen. Do you see what I see?
That might be a 1 second penalty to his name. Maybe he made up some time by going off the track. We see now a 2:06.8. What does he do this time? A 2:07. So he lost a bit of time that last lap. But it is only 14 seconds now, with 3 or 4 laps remaining here at Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. Pluck doing a good job there, just behind in P5. I said earlier this was going to be the battle for the lead, but with these guys staying out at the front of the field, it's thrown the race completely wide open, and it means that Madden is looking at potentially getting a win here off the back of having that disconnect in race 1. So great comeback for him. Pren's doing a fantastic job in P2.
Double championship points too, feature race, which means 200 points up for grabs for the Australian over the 100 points that he potentially lost in that disconnect.
Interesting considering as well, these guys don't have to pit. You know, this was made on their own accord. They decided to come in. I don't know whether they really needed to.
Well, it came back to what practice they've obviously been doing on this track in the wet, and you know, they knew how many laps it was, so
that goes back to sort of what we were talking about in the first race, how the timing of the pit. So that was right on that verge of where you could potentially benefit from it if the track dried out fast enough, but with 3 laps to go, and what's 13 seconds to make up.
Yeah,
it's really pushing it. So it'll be interesting. It looks like the track's drying out.
It's all going to come
almost
down to
completely now.
That tyre, is it going to, you know?
Is the wet tyre going to fail? Yeah. Is the slick tyre going to make up extra ground? So
yeah, I don't know. I think Madden might have this one in the bag at the moment. He's not doing the quickest times, but it is only 3 or 4 seconds that Northway is going faster than the race leader at the moment. Madden is going to cross the line, and there'll be 3 to go here at Silverstone Circuit. He's really searching for the wet weather, and he actually goes quicker on that lap. He did a 2:09.6 that time by with 3 laps to go here. Prenz does a 2:09 as well. So while the circuit is drying up and also getting quicker, these guys, despite being on the older wet weather tyres, still managing to do some quick times. Monkey Matt sits a distant third at the moment. We'll wait and see. Northway just coming through turn 1 at the moment, does a 2:05 that time by, so a lot faster on that last lap. Pluck does a 2:05 as well. You can see Northway's just hanging it out. Makes a mistake though, trying to catch these guys. He knows that maybe he's made a mistake by coming in early. He's not far away though from getting a podium here, so the three-peat isn't on at this point. Madden has currently got the best part of 11 seconds over these guys. Northway's going to have to make a mammoth effort in these last few laps to actually try and catch Madden, and then it's a case of actually can he pass him. So here we go, coming through the corner now. Northway is right on the door of Monkey Matt. I don't think it'll be long before Monkey Matt relinquishes that place. Northway flashes the headlights as they come through the old start-finish line. You can see, despite the puddles, he is quicker than Monkey Matt. I imagine it'll only be a matter of time before he gets by. There he goes, he sends it down the inside. Monkey Matt gives him just enough room, and he takes the position away. So that's third for Northway. Pluck, I can't imagine will be too far away. And we'll also get up into P4. Monkey Matt, obviously those tyres not working for him. He did a 2:11 that last time by. This is a 2:05 for Northway. Northway has brought that margin down to 9 seconds now. This is getting super tight here at Silverstone Circuit. It's a big deficit, but can he do it?
10 seconds.
2 laps to go.
9
lap and a half.
seconds.
That's 5 seconds a lap, basically, isn't it, to bring that margin down? I don't know whether he can do it unless there's a mistake from Madden. Surely Prenz is an opportunity.
Pluck gets the pass.
Northway maybe just making a few too many mistakes, hitting those apexes lap after lap. He's missed a few though, and unfortunately it means he's down in P3 at the moment. Madden might have just pulled off a masterstroke with the pit stop cycle here. It's only 8 seconds now. A 2:05.2 that last time by. Madden a 2:09.7. Exactly 4 seconds the difference between them on that last lap. The margin is 8 and there's 2 laps to go. You do the math. These guys should be neck and neck by the time they get to the start-finish line. We are absolutely setting up here for an absolute barn burner at Silverstone Circuit. Don't go away, there's only 2 laps to go. Can Robert Northway bring this gap down? He can see him now. He's just at the end of the straight. Surely, if Prenz gets out the way quick, maybe Northway can have a shot. He's really trying to get through those puddles and keep those tyres up to temperature now. No mistakes for Northway. He's got to be on it, lap after lap. Madden, despite being on the wet tyre, is still doing 2:09s. So those tyres don't seem to be failing quite like we expected them to. And Northway, on those slicks, just making the smallest gains. Corner after corner, it's down to 6 seconds now between the pair of them with a lap and a half to go here. What can Kyle Madden do? Can he hold on to the position? He doesn't have to worry about Prenz. He just has to worry about those tyres not going completely off the face of the earth. You can see he's tippy-toeing around the track. There's no water left out on the track for him to search for to cool down these tyres.
In the background, you can see Robert Northway and Pluck.
Here he comes. There's Northway, 6 seconds the margin. A little bit of spray out on the track there. Surely it's through the high speeds that Northway is making up the most amount of time. He can see him. He can sniff Madden now.
What would be going through your mind right now, Darren?
Oh, you know, he's probably been informed that the pressure is on, the gap is closing, and you, I don't know, just don't make any mistakes from here on out.
Oh, I think my gut says Northway needs an extra lap. I think Madden's going to get this now. He's done a 2:09.6 that last lap. Northway, what does he do? He does a 2:05 flat. Again, 4 seconds. The margin is exactly 4.6 seconds between them. Northway goes a little bit wide. If anything, if Prenz just gets out of the way, there may only be half a second between them at the line. Northway is absolutely chucking this Nissan GTR around Silverstone Circuit. Prenz is only gone. There he is. Prenz is gone. He's made a mistake. He's looped it on his own, so those tyres just fell off the earth there, and that's easy pickings for Northway. There's only 3 seconds now. Northway goes loose. He's on the grass. What is he doing? Those puddles are just playing into the hands of Madden, and the margin is back out to 4.5 seconds now. So a crucial mistake there going through the puddles for Northway has cost him an oodles amount of time there. And Madden is back out to a 4-second lead. Pluck within a second of Northway now. Madden surely has this one in the bag. Those puddles on the slick tyres not playing nicely for Northway. Unfortunately, he's made a mistake here. There is only half a lap to go on. The margin is only 4 seconds. Hasn't made the inroads that we thought he would after that little mistake there. It certainly cost him a lot of time through the straights. Madden now through Maggots, then Beckett's. Northway 3.5 seconds behind now. I said he needed an extra lap, and I think that's going to be the case now. There is only 3 more corners to go here. He's in sight, Northway. He will be absolutely gutted if he doesn't win this one, that he couldn't quite catch Madden. But for Madden, he'll be absolutely stoked to stay out there on those wet weather tyres. He's pulled off a master stroke. He's made no mistakes. There is only 3 more corners to go here. Northway can smell him, he can see him, he can nearly touch him, but he won't be able to catch him. There's only 3 seconds behind him, and Northway's made a mistake and he's gone, but it's Madden who will take the win here at the feature. Northway spins at the final corner, and Pluck is going to pick up P2. So after all of that, Northway ends up dropping down to P3. He will be gutted to lose that one. It should have been a 3-peat, he probably feels. But he only ends up at the back end of the podium, 5 seconds adrift. It was an absolute thriller. We thought Northway might get it in the end, but it's Pluck who gets P2, and Madden, the feature race win, and a cool 200 points to his credit. Oh, banging doors at the end there. Simon Bishop going side by side with Seeker. Who got that one in the end? I think it might have been Bishop. Thrilling stuff here at Silverstone Circuit. Wow, one more lap. Do you just feel one more lap and we could have had an absolute dogfight? You've got to give it to Madden, though. You've got to give it to Madden.
Oh,
great play.
Well played.
Yeah.
Well played from the Australian. It just slight mistakes. I didn't say it on that last lap, those last 2 laps, but Northway always just...
Yeah, just a little bit wide of the apex on a few ones. You know, I think if he hadn't have hit that puddle on the straight there, he would have had to have gotten out of the throttle. You know what it's like heading into turn 1 at Pukekohe. You hit a puddle on a slick tyre and it just sends you wide, doesn't it?
Oh, we've definitely had some scary experiences in wet conditions into that corner.
And a lot of parents up in race control saying, no more. Many times before. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Madden Pluck coming in second position. Sitting behind him, Robert Northway. It was Northway's to lose, but it was Madden's to lose, really, wasn't it? What a play to stay out there. How much practice did Northway and Madden put in to know when to do that?
Well, it's just a matter of chancing your arm, I think. And we've proved it tonight. Northway, on the math, should have only been maybe half a second behind at the end there. So Kyle Madden takes the win. 15-lap feature here at Silverstone Grand Prix Circuit. 3.36 seconds ahead of Pluck, but that doesn't tell you the true story. That was Robert Northway doing a great job there. Ends up in P3. He had a 1-second penalty to his name, so maybe if he had gotten Madden at the end there, might have been dogged by that penalty, but 9.6 seconds off the pace of the lead doesn't really tell you how much of a fight back Northway made there at the end. Prens picks up P4 and Monkey Matt P5. Simon Bishop misses out on a 3rd straight podium finish. EVP picks up P7 ahead of Alistair Kuipers. Info Agent gets 9th, while Damien Knockside Main rounds out the top 10. Alki in 11th, Damien Pinkham picks up P12. And rounding out the order here, S5 Kimsum and Seeker. It looks like Seeker got an absolutely huge penalty, so I'm not sure what's happened to him, but unfortunately he's been docked a lot of time and will finish last in this race. He was, I believe, in contention for a top 5 there until that penalty.
Yeah, well, look, it started off a weeny bit stagnant, but it ended really with strategy and some thriller, exactly. So, look, we're going to cut to a really quick advert break, and then we're going to come back to check out our tournament ladder. Who's got the movers and shakers of the championship? So stay tuned. We'll do that. Get on to driven.co.nz, enter that keyword. We'll be back with you very shortly.
Like us, you're passionate about cars. At Star Insurance Specialist, we create custom policies for Kiwis with exceptional vehicles. If you own a vintage, classic, performance, project or prestige car, your needs don't fit neatly into a box. We think special and unique cars deserve special and unique insurance. We don't let robots determine policy or price. Get on the road with a custom policy from Star Insurance Specialists. Go to starinsure.co.nz today.
War is upon us.
They might have found another kill. Carly out of position.
And there will be no dialogue.
He's just beyond godlike. The words speak for themselves.
Show no mercy.
It's gonna be a wash as everyone is either dead or retreating.
And be relentless. Enlist for war.
Test your limit. Drive with the fastest.
Throw into the inside. Has he got it, McQueen? Will he block?
Take control.
And he gets it. Job done. Can he hold on to it?
Redefine speed.
It's a drag race to the finish.
Who's it going to be?
Fantastic racing. Look, he is pumped. He is absolutely stoked.
Be the fastest.
The hunt begins. Scanning the area.
Champion double kill.
Zipline deployed. Sorry you died.
This is where it ends.
G'day, I'm Sam, and here at driven.co.nz, we've got a nifty toolbox to help make buying and selling a car easier. Selling, but not sure what price to put on it? Our car value calculator will give you a really good starting point. If you're buying a new car, our cost to run tool will give you a rough estimate of what the car will cost you each year to run. We can also tell you the best time to sell so you get the sweetest possible return. Check out the toolbox at driven.co.nz.
This is just clinical.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the ANZ Project Cars Championship. It's Season 3, brought to you by Star Insurance Specialist, live out at Auckland SkyCITY Sky Tower. And we had our feature race, and well, the sprint races were interesting, but the end, like you say, Simon, it's a barn burner.
Barn burner, absolute thriller. Man, how close was that finish at the end there? You know, we saw the result. Okay, 9 seconds at the end there, but Northway, he was closing in.
Yeah, the strategy of that pit stop, like we said earlier on, it comes down to that one lap. Like, it comes down, had he pitted a lap earlier, if the track had dried out or stopped raining a lap earlier, it would have given him that little bit to potentially catch up.
It's just like Bathurst back in the day, you know, when Jamie Wincup's running out of fuel and Chaz Mossett hustling at the end there. It was looking like it was going to be a last lap showdown right to the end there. I think Northway he'll be a little bit gutted. He just didn't have an extra lap. Maybe a few of those mistakes, if he hadn't have made them, might have been able to get him in the end, but unfortunately he only picks up P3.
Look, he had a bit of a stellar night no matter what. So let's have a look how the results played out for round 2 of the Project Cars Championship.
And again, nobody raced tonight.
No one raced tonight, we're ghosting you. Well, we know that Robert Northway had the first 2 there. We will...
Well, we know that he's got 200 points.
Via the intern.
Via the race 1 win and the race 2 win. And then, again, nobody's raced in the tournament.
No one's home.
So unfortunately, we don't have those graphics for you. Hopefully we'll be able to get those to you at some point. So.
Oh, look, it's really easy. Just get onto the Project Cars Let's Play Live. Just get onto the Facebook page or the Twitter.
Yeah.
And don't forget, obviously, the driven.co.nz promo. But we know that Robert Northway is obviously going to be sitting quite high up in that championship. He would have pulled 2 100 points. And obviously, Kyle Madden's going to be sitting up really high. The Australian got 200 points, $6,000, 6,000 AUD. Darren, first time in the studio. Obviously, we thank you. Thank you for being, it's Nissan Week. So,
yeah, that's been cool. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, we look forward to seeing you at D1NZ and out in the summer motorsport season. Again, defending your title at the rounds. Simon, highlight for this week would be?
That chase.
That chase.
That chase was mega.
All right. Well, on behalf of us here in the studio at Let's Play Live, you can check the Facebook page out for all the results. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be here the same place, the same time next Thursday for the ANZ Project Cars Championship. For now, stay safe on the roads, and we'll see you then. Bye for now.
This LPL Pro presentation was proudly brought to you by Star Insurance.